relief work to the disaster-stricken people. The second part to me is the role of our society, the role of our political dispensations, the role of our administration, role of our society, whatever we can do. And that part to me is like that only. The other part, that is the action of the nature, there the whole world, particularly the global south, the third world countries, though we claim that we no longer belong to third world country, but actually it is not. Perhaps it is not. There, the concept of sustainability, concept of equal development, even the concept of eco-friendly gestures, all are sugar-coated beautiful words. In practical life, all these things has very little relevance. So with these few words, I don't want to go into the details of it. If we see the UNDP's charters, the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, you will find that disaster is present in the beautiful day. When we call that today is a beautiful day, there is no rain, sunny, shiny day. Even in that day, the entire society is in deep disaster in our country, if we consider the 17 goals of UNDP. You look at the health system, you look at the education, you look at the inequality status, all these indicates that we are in a disaster, always in a disaster. We don't need a flood to thrust us into a disaster mode. We always in a disaster mode. We as a country. So with these few words, Professor Maiti, the persons like Professor Maiti, Dr. Abhijan Mangalam, so in front of them, to talk about disaster, to talk about river, to talk about geographical patterns is a kind of effrontery for me. Basudev sir is there. So with these few words, I'm concluding my remarks. Thank you. Devashi, please take on.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for this warm welcome note. Although it is raining outside, all we were deeply worried, because we are facing the effect of Mantha here also in North Bengal. So in many parts of the Duars, there is a kind of, torrential rainfall has occurred last night. So in that particular situation, we are running this, 3 days international seminar connecting disaster and afterlife. So without wasting time, I would like to request Dr. Basudev Bhatta, one of our sponsoring agency, Dr. Basudev Bhatta, to kindly say a few words on this occasion.
Thank you, Dr. Doshi. First of all, I would like to convey my gratitude to all of the speakers and distinguished dignitaries present here, and also my best wishes to all of the participants. As a sponsoring agency, we are very happy to be a part of this event, this international conference. And the topic, as principals are saying, that The topic is very relevant, and I hope that within this workshop or within this conference, the participants will come out significant solutions and acceptable solutions, the appropriate path to handle the disaster and its afterlife. I would not like to extend my speech. Rather, it is the time to deliver the lecture by the distinguished dignitaries, and is it at that time to listen to them. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Basudev Bhatta, for your kind words. Dr. Basudev Bhatta, as all we know that he's not a kind of, only a kind of sponsoring partner attached with this particular program. If you talk about the CAT Center, where from the first geospatial, mapping process started in West Bengal, he was like the former professor of that particular CAT department from Jalpaiguri University. So we are very happy that Dr. Bhatta is with us. Thank you once again, sir, for your words. Now, I would like to add one thing, that in this particular panel discussion, we have 5 presentations, and the session will be chaired by our esteemed guest, Professor Dr. Ramkrishna Maiti from Vidyasagar University, and he will be supported by our co-chair, Dr. Bishwajit Das from Manipur University, Department of Geography. So, sir, first I would like to introduce Professor Dr. Ramkrishna Maiti from Vidyasagar University. All we know, we have a vast idea about Professor Maiti. He's such a big figure, big personality of in contemporary geomorphology. And his present work, what I collected from internet, he's doing works in applied geomorphology, fluvial and coastal dynamics, mining, environmental interactions, slope instability, etc., etc. So I'm not uttering all those things. All we know, Professor Maiti. So I would like to hand over the charge of this particular session to our esteemed chair, Professor Dr. Ramkrishna Maiti. Kindly, sir.
Thank you, Devarshi. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Okay. So, respected Dr. Devnath, Principal, Dhupguri College, my distinguished colleagues, I am really privileged and honored to have an opportunity to share my ideas and to have some discussions with you in this international seminar. And really, I am thankful to Dr. Devarshi, Dr. Devaruthi, Dr. Dhitiman. And today, the topic what is selected for the discussion is a quite relevant one. Very recently, we saw the numbers of disasters, sequence of disasters, starting from Dharali, UP, Himachal, then recently in North Bengal, entire North Bengal. So in this perspective, the discussions are quite contemporary and relevant. And I welcome you to these engaging discussions. And the huge task has been given on me to start the session with some discussions from my side. So if you allow me, I can share my slides. So Devarshi, are you with me?
Yes, sir, I am present, sir.
Okay. Okay. How long I will continue?
Sir, I think 20, 25 minutes, sir. 25 minutes.
Okay. That's fine. So my slide is visible.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
So today I like to throw some light on social dimensions of disasters. Whenever we are discussing about the disasters, say flood or cyclone, we are giving more importance on the total rainfall, total amount of discharge, how much area is flooded. And about the cyclone, what is the wind speed? So all these physical parameters are given more importance in disaster studies. But to me, there are say numbers of social attributes which are associated to the disasters, and that are more important sometimes than the physical attributes. If we go for the competing doctrines or the approaches, philosophical side of disaster studies, then till 1990, positivist technocentric approach was dominant, but presently socially grounded approach is getting popular. So under technocentric approach, we generally discuss about the magnitude of disaster, frequency of the events, recurrence intervals, and we believe that disaster losses are environmentally controlled. But gradually we started to understand that impact of disaster or disaster losses are more related to social attributes. Say, for example, prior experience of hazardous event, prior experience of disaster. Say, for example, in 2004, when the tsunami strike our Indian coast, most of the coastal people, they don't heard about this name tsunami. And due to that factor, losses were much more. But the areas in Japan, so Japan coast, they know about tsunami. These are taught in their school curriculum and their entire educational discourse. This tsunami has been discussed well. So they are quite habituated with tsunami. So tsunami losses are quite less in Japan. Okay. And even the poverty level, illiteracy, other economic and social circumstances, they are playing the big role in disaster losses, disaster impact. And while we are studying disaster, for example, flood, then our entire design of the research changes if our approach changed. So if we believe in positivist approach or technocentric approach, then to study flood, we always go for discharge estimation, magnitude frequency analysis, forecasting, modeling, mapping, and we try to prepare the master plan for structural measures like construction of dam, embankment construction, diversion channel, retention storage construction. So all these are related to the technocentric approach. But if we believe in social and humanistic approach, then we try to explore the sufferings out of the disasters. And what are the difference in sufferings across the class or caste in a particular community? What is the perception level, individual perception or community perception or experience about the hazards, and how they are using those perceptions in their decision making? And what are their understanding about risk, exposure, vulnerability? And the management gives more emphasis on resilience building based on community awareness, pre-disaster planning for rescue, relief, and rehabilitation, construction of flood shelter. So entire research aptitude or research design or the work differs if our way of understanding, if our approach to deal with a particular disaster differs. So that's why this approach is more important for selecting our job, what we need to do And sometimes these technocentric approaches are transferred from rich countries to poor countries. I will give you some examples. And in most of the cases, those technologies offer false sense of security, or sometimes those are inappropriate or unaffordable for the poor countries like us. Say, if we take the example of false sense of security, say Bangladesh, if we take the example of Bangladesh during 1950s and 60s, and afterwards also, they revamped their, they constructed large embankments on both sides of their rivers, and they tried to protect their floodplains with high and big embankments with the help of the foreign aid. And people, they believed that yes, these embankments are now there and we are now protected, and they tried to they started to say settle in the more hazardous areas, that is more flood prone areas, more cyclone prone areas, because they believe that they are now protected with the embankments. But actually, when the disaster occurs, it is proved that these embankments or these protecting structures are quite insufficient. And that's why during 1970s cyclone, 3 to 5 lakh people were dead. And 1991 cyclone, at least 1,38,000 people were dead. So this is how the inappropriate spatial adjustment occurred through the false sense of security of the structural measures. Another example I like to give you, say Dharali, recent Dharali case of Uttarakhand. You see, my picture is visible, photo is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes.
it's a small tributary, Khirganga river. It's a tributary of Bhagirathi river. And you see on both sides of the river, there the embankments are constructed by the local administration, by the administration. And people believed that now they are protected. And then they constructed their houses and constructed permanent settlements in a very hazard-prone areas. As a geographer, you must understand what is this area. It is a alluvial fan area. How does this fan develop? The fan developed by massive deposition brought from the upslope side. Massive deposition brought from the upslope side was the main say, mechanism for the formation of this alluvial fan. So it has a history of massive downslope movement of materials and water. And people forgot this one because this occurred a long ago, and the government has constructed the embankments on both sides of the river, and that's why they felt yes, now they are protected. But what happened on 5th August 2025? Huge material came from the upside, and entire settlement was engulfed with debris, soil, and water. So entire settlement was vanished. So this is how these kind of structural measures or say technocentric measures offers false sense of security to society. Now sometimes this become inappropriate. If we take the example of Indian Sundarban, you know, in Sundarban, land reclaimed by construction of the embankments along both the sides of the creeks, tidal creeks. So these are the embankment constructed and vegetation was cleared. So erection of embankment and clearing of the forest are two simple say mechanism for reclamation. And this embankment is considered as the lifeline of the Sundarban because it differentiates between saline environment and human constituted or socially constituted freshwater environment. And this technique was borrowed by the Britishers from Netherlands. You know the polder land. In Netherlands, this principle was practiced since 1609. And in 18th century, Britishers brought this technology for the reclamation of saline land or intertidal land in Sundarban. You see what is the health of the embankment in Netherlands, how they are maintaining their polders. Yes, these are the embankments and they are maintaining their polders. And side by side, you see the health of the embankments in India and Sundarban. We are not maintaining it. And when it doesn't require any, say, high tide or storm surge, this embankment is unstable within, unstable, self-instability is there. They will break by themselves. There is no requirement of, storm surge and high tide. Okay, this is how the people are protected. And while ILA came, then kilometers after kilometer, embankment was destroyed. Sometimes unaffordable too, because huge capital is required to construct such a strong embankment. And this technology-centric management or technocentric management reinforce condition of underdevelopment, exploitation, and poverty. How? Because most of the foreign aids are siphoned off by the corruption. Most of the available capital is spent for sophisticated technology. And this, and then the poor who are actually affected, they don't get much for their recovery. And this is how the risk or exposure of the poor people are magnified. Relief and transfer of technology benefits them who are already wealthy. Most of the stronger group, powerful group of the society, they manage the relief rate and the benefit of this technology. But the poor people, they in most cases becomes deprived of it. And now we will discuss that how this economic and social pursuits, social dimensions, playing their role in disaster impacts. So let's see how the disasters are socially controlled. In some cases, the disaster with same physical intensity left different impacts. Okay, disaster with same physical intensity left different impacts. Example, Hurricane Fifi of Honduras in 1974 and Cyclone Tracy in Australia in 1974. They are of almost equal magnitude. Wind speed was 230 to 250 kilometers. Okay, but in Honduras, casualty was 4,000 to 8,000, and in Australia, casualty was in only 50. There was huge loss in Honduras also. So what happened? In San Pedro Sula Valley of Honduras, there was the banana plantation. Okay, so for this plantation, the vegetation cover, local vegetation cover or natural vegetation cover was cleared. Forest was cleared, rail roadway developed, campesinos are attracted from other sides, and they settled, the laborers settled within this basin of valley bottom. But problem started since 1956 when companies tried to expand their business. And then massive expansion of companies forced the poor farmers to shift from the valley bottom for the upslope sides. And when they cleared the forest in the fragile upslope sides, soil erosion and landslide occurred, and those soil say landslide material filled the valley bottom and water holding capacity of the valley reduced, and then flood occurred. And due to this flood associated to cyclone, the disaster in fact enlarged. So the economic, social, and political processes determine the disaster impact. Another example I'd like to give you, Guatemala earthquake of 4th February 1976. There was a huge earthquake of 7.5 Richter scale from Guatemala city to Caribbean Sea. Guatemala city to Caribbean Sea, a narrow strip of area was affected more because it is a valley and hill slope areas. So richest developed houses with costly earthquake resistant structures, but poor cannot. Then when disaster came or earthquake came, the poor houses of the poor families were destroyed, but the rich houses, the houses of the rich people, they were not affected much. And the poor people managed to get the land in the more hazardous areas of the valleys and gorges, which are susceptible to more landslide. Okay. Even after the earthquake, relief was not given sufficiently because this Guatemala was run by the opposition party. Okay. And even the people which were who are working for the rehabilitation, they advocated that landless people or homeless people should be encouraged to rebuild houses on unoccupied private lands. These unoccupied private lands were mainly owned by the rich people. And ultimately, after 2 weeks of the earthquake, this man, Ronaldo Pena, was shot dead. So this is how the political pressure or politics plays the role in rehabilitation or disaster management. So severity of impact depends on who are you. Who are you means not an individual, but a member of a community. What is your position, economic position, social position, or economic strength? Which society you belong to at the time of disaster? And what we find, the disaster do not strike people in the same way. All the people in the same community are not affected in the same way by a single disaster. Because poor and marginalized suffer more. As they are not equipped with technique, they are not resilient so much to cope with. Even there is gender discrimination in the disaster impact also. In Brandt, 1978, there is a book of Brandt of natural disaster. One example was given of Bangladesh cyclone of 1970. The name of this cyclone is Cyclone Bhola, where 3 to 5 lakh people were dead, and mostly they are the women. Do you know why? Because that time there was a social taboo that women cannot spend the night outside the home. That's why after repeated forecast and repeated request to take shelter at the safest place, safer places, the women are not allowed to leave the home, whereas the male members left home and took shelters at the safer places. Cyclone came and most of the women were dead who remained in the areas of location. So this is how there is also gender issues involved in disaster impact. Yes, this is the Cyclone Bhola, some pictures of Cyclone. And I have discussed on the issue of Dharali, Uttarakhand, then why people are so encouraged for living in such a hazardous place. And in case of Dharali, it is a religious place. There is the huge demand for hotels and residents for the pilgrims for the tourists. That's why whatever land is available, those are used for the say tourism purposes, and huge amount of say investment are also there, and then hazards becomes the secondary issue. The primary issue becomes the immediate income. So you see what was the Dharali settlement before the disaster, and what is the after post-disaster scenario. Okay. Now, in Uttarkashi, in June 19, in 2013, you see there was the Alaknanda River and Mandakini flood. Mandakini flood happened in 2013. You see, if you see a single picture of the flood, then you see the next one is also here. Sorry, the picture has been shifted. Yes, it is in Kedarnath temple. So almost all the valley are equally destroyed in case of Kedarnath temple. But for this valley, you see the large or very sophisticated buildings are constructed on the riverfront. Generally, what we find that the richer people, they develop the houses at the safer places, and marginal people or the poor people, they settle in the marginal sector of the land. But here the case is opposite, because accessibility to the river is a attraction for the tourists. That's why the large houses and sophisticated houses are constructed near the riverfront. Okay, so what is the main driving force here? Driving force is the monetary income. Okay, so these are some of the pictures of Uttarakhand, very recent occurrence. Himachal Pradesh, this year there were numbers of 23 flash floods and 19 cloudbursts, ultimately causing a death of 78 people. And if you look at this picture, say it is the river, and people enter into the river. They don't give any space to the river, and a small embankment was constructed. And people found that this is a protecting structure. Okay, and if this happens, and in this condition, if disaster occurs, then whether the disaster is responsible or the natural forcing is responsible for the damage, or what the other forces, you have to think about it. North Bengal flood of 2023 by the glacial lake outburst. You see the pictures, you know about all this, and this experience are still in our mind. And this year, on the same day, that occurred also on 3rd October, and this occurred also on 3rd and 4th October. And you see a series of rivers, they emerged from the mountain front. And while a river emerges from the mountain front, it has some characteristic change, because in the mountain, the valley is confined. So river is within a confined valley. And while it comes to the Piedmont mountain front, it becomes partly confined or laterally unconfined. So this boundary condition, it is the permanent boundary condition, or say imposed boundary condition. This boundary condition is changed, and with this change of boundary condition, entire character of the river is changed. So this we must understand before understanding the flood situations. How the change occurs? Stream energy gradually increased up to this confinement point. So energy of the stream is maximum at the mountain front, from where it started to be unconfined. Okay, we have a misconception that in the hill part the stream energy is maximum, and while it comes to the mountain front or the piedmont or foothill, its energy is reduced. Yes, energy is reduced after becoming unconfined, suddenly reduced. But before, up to the confinement pattern, its energy gradually increased. And stream discharge gradually increased from source to mouth up to its mouth. Okay, these two things we must remember to understand the nature of the flood and nature of and character of the rivers. In Tista, Torsha, Raidog, Jaldhaka, Kaljini, Shankos, they have numbers of abundant channels and back swamps and changing courses because of this. And what are their effect? All those back swamps, all those earlier channels, those are blocked or those are occupied for other purposes. Okay. The recent report of India Today shows that abundant channels sank from 24.87 square kilometer to 9.01 square kilometer during this period. 104.05 square kilometer of channel is turned to farmland, and 85.90 square kilometer of the channel land within the channel land is transferred into built-up areas for rider only. Torsha also lost much of its old channel to farmland. Kaljani and Jaldhaka are heavily embanked rivers, and Tista also disconnected from its wetlands and other channels. So while much of the discharge comes with this much of energy, huge energy, then that has to be intercepted, that has to be received by some space and some techniques. What are left there? Nothing. There is the blockage by settlement, there is the blockage by bridges, there are the blockage by culverts, and channel becomes narrower and narrower. Why? Because we see a narrow river for a long time, but we never expect such a huge discharge immediately. But we must understand that these much channels, this huge area of the former channel was cut by the river. River brings this huge material and this huge discharge at some time. These are the formative events, these are the high magnitude events which are rare in occurrence. Say, for example, at 50 years recurrence interval or at 100 years recurrence interval, that much of flood water comes. And we must leave that space for the river, that much space for accommodation of that discharge and sediment. So this is the fundamental principle for hazard management or flood management. Because this valley was cut by the river. And this valley is required for the river. Okay. So in this case, there was intense rainfall, more than 300 millimeter in 24 hours, steep slope in upper catchment, which leads to easy drainage, immediate drainage, and fragile slope forming materials, which led to landslide and soil erosion. So these are the physical factors occurring. And there are much social factors involved. Land use conversion. We are clearing slope at the upper catchment. We are constructing more and more impermeable built-up area so that water absorption capacity of the catchment is reduced. Channel area is occupied. Abundant channels are lost. Floodplain and channel which were connected earlier, those are disconnected. So water accommodation space is occupied by the society. Fragile slope forming materials. This is the physical factors we discussed. So more settlement towards the river front. We are approaching towards the river more and more. That means we are becoming more and more exposed to the risk. So now you tell us, now we can analyze that how much of this disaster is physically determined. This is only the intense rainfall. And these are the very common, these are happening throughout the year and years after years. These are the common factors. But the special factor was this intense rainfall. And all these are our contribution, societal contribution. Okay. So this report of India today, they made some analysis of the factors: slippery slopes, denuded forest, angry rains, clogged rivers. All these are analyzed. Now, with these discussions, I like to conclude with this picture of Mandakini River near Rudrapur. You see the large boulders. It's a Jaldhaka River near Bindu. Okay, so you see these are the large boulders brought by the river, but presently river has no energy to transfer them. What does it mean? It means that at one time or sometimes river has sufficient energy to transfer these large boulders, because these boulders are rounded already. That means they are carried from some distance. River carried them, and at some interval, say 25 or 50 years interval, river has this amount of energy to transfer those materials for some distance downstream. So this is the principle we must remember, that sometimes such disastrous events, or these are in geomorphological language, it is called the geomorphologically formative events occur. So these high magnitude events are rare. We must analyze that how much magnitude of the water flow occurs at what time interval. Okay, but due to climate change, this magnitude frequency relationship is changed. We have also to understand how much change has been occurred and how much water we are expecting at which recurrence interval. So probable maximum discharge are to be calculated at 5, 15 or 20 years recurrence interval. And considering all those economic, social factors, we have to prepare the basin specific, even if possible, Moja specific vulnerability analysis. considering all the physical and social factors. Now, you have to propose the resilience measure, but we have to formulate the resilience measures or adaptation strategy, considering all economic, social, and political factors together. And we must require the need for equitable management strategies. Already we discussed that there are inequality, social inequality, economic inequality, political inequality involved in disaster management. But our management should be more equitable in it. With this, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share my ideas with you.
Thank you once again, Professor Dr. Ramkrishna Maiti. It is always, I mean, very good to hear from you all the times. And we know that he's a very big, personality in the field of contemporary geomorphology. Or we are actually blessed to hear from you, sir. Thank you very much for your presentation. He's the chair of this particular session. Now, Dr. Bishwadip Das is also with us. He's the assistant professor in the Department of Geography at Manipur. Dr. Singh, are you there? Bishwadip? I think there is some network issue or something.
Yeah.
I think that.
Might be. If you have any contact number, please try to contact him. Devarshi?
Bishwadip, can you? Oh, yeah.
Left the meeting. I think he will join immediately.
Yeah. Dr. Das and Dr. Singh, they are colleagues from the same department.
Oh, okay.
University.
Yes. Manushi is also from that university, no?
Yeah. Manushi is from Nagaland University.
Nagaland University, yes.
Professor Brototi Dishas has right now joined from Mizoram. She's from Mizoram University. And we have Siddharth Agarwal, one of our resource for this panel. He has also joined from Kolkata.
Okay.
Sir is facing some internet issues, so he's joining shortly. Yes,
I think he joined.
Yeah. He's back now.
Sir, your voice is not audible. You can't hear you, sir. Sir, you go for the presentation mode from your PowerPoint. PowerPoint is already open. Yes, you please open the PowerPoint. Click the PowerPoint. Yes. Go to the PowerPoint mode. At the bottom ribbon, at the lowermost ribbon, right hand side. Near the volume bar, the shape cup-like shape, cup, teacup-like shape. Yes, that one. Yeah. Yes. You please now continue. But your voice is not coming, sir. Dr. Das, please contact him.
Can we do one thing, Professor Ramkrishna Maiti sir? Can we do one thing?
Yes, please.
Until Professor Singh, settles with this particular technical problem.
Yeah.
Can we proceed with the next presenter?
Yeah. Why not? That would be fine.
So Dr. Singh can be, fix that particular thing.
Yeah.
So it would be better, sir, Dr. Singh.
Yes.
Okay. So I think we have with us Professor Dr. Brototi Bishwas. She is a professor in the Department of Geography and Resource Management at Mizoram University, Aizawl. Her work spans basically remote sensing GIS applications, natural hazard, and disaster risk management. She has coordinated high-impact training and outreach programs, most recently presenting the report for 10 days NECTAR-supported RSGIS workshop at Mizoram University. So kindly, madam, kindly proceed with your presentation. Kindly. Ma'am, you are not audible. I think you need to turn on the microphone, I think, ma'am. Your screen is visible.
Oh, yes, I had unmuted myself.
Now it is fine.
Yeah. And I hope it is in full screen mode.
Yes. It's fine now.
Okay. Thank you so much. So good evening to all of you. And I present to you the topic on disaster and glimpses to indigenous resilience system in Mizoram. So the cover slide in itself is self-explanatory, where you can see a lot of disaster pictures from our state. So that means that, and many of you are quite aware that Mizoram, the state of Mizoram has got it is prone to various disasters, not only Mizoram, the entire Northeast. So there are various types of disasters. So we have landslides over here, we have earthquakes over here, we have forest fires, cyclones, and to some extent also floods. But for this today's presentation, I will be focusing only on one of them, that is on landslide. That is for the first part, that is disaster. So here in the slide, you can see the state of Mizoram. So the landslide susceptibility mapping has been done. So wherein you can see that this most of the places, they fall under high to very high susceptible region. And particularly if you see this zone over here, this is the Aizawl district, and this zone over here, Lunglei district. So these two districts are mainly, they are having the maximum amount of landslides. So in the inset, you can see this is part of Aizawl district. So it is already in the very high to high zone, which you can see from the mapping and also from the various landslide points. So in this map, the Aizawl district has been shown, and in the district, from the various landslide inventories, one can easily understand the number of landslides that we are facing, and this is just a glimpse. There are many more landslides. So there are some landslides which are repeatedly occurring. The area is going on increasing. And some landslides which may have occurred quite some time back. Right now they are dormant. Again, it can occur. And so again over here, you can see that the maximum part of the district falls under high to very high. And this zone over here is the Aizawl city area. So in this Aizawl city area is also prone to a number of landslide incidents. So we can in short say that in Mizoram, the main population, the population percentage is in this place of Aizawl district. So over here, the maximum person is vulnerable to landslide, and not only landslide, to the various disasters. Now, why do Mizoram get so many disasters? That is because we are in the seismic zone 5. So since we are in seismic zone 5, we are prone to so many hazards, so many disasters. And just to give you a glimpse of the nature of disasters that we are facing, so only this year, only within 1 month, that is from May 24th to early June, Mizoram has reported around this many landslides. And if we go to this values, this table over here, just in this year, this is till only July. So till July, we had around 846 landslide incidents. And the nature of destruction and damage is understandable by this. That is around 282 houses has been damaged, 342 has been destroyed. There has been rampant road blockages, and number of families have been evacuated. And only this year, there has been around 5 deaths only in Aizawl district. So this is just the picture of the district, not the entire state. Only in the district, there has been 5 deaths. So this is such a lot of hazard that the region is facing. So what are the vulnerabilities of our state? What makes it so disaster prone? First of all, we have very steep terrain, and this terrain has got very fragile geology. The nature of geology over here is loose, unconsolidated material, mainly of soil nature, not rocks. So when there is a landslide, what happens? It is mainly these loose soil particles which there is a fall of that, there is a soil slide, etc. So because of this, and also the geology, there are various fragments because it is very young hills. The hills are very young. And together with this is the natural factor. Also, we have got very heavy rainfall. That is one of the most triggering factors for the landslides. And because in Mizoram, we have around 2,400 millimeters to 2,500 millimeters of rainfall per year. So that results into flash floods, that results into various floods. So that is the triggering factor. But apart from that, these are the natural factors. So what is the anthropogenic factor? The anthropogenic factor is the jhum cultivation. We are aware that Northeast India has got shifting cultivation. So we have this jhum cultivation, and in this cover slide, in this slide, you can see this is a jhum land. So in jhum land, earlier what used to happen is that they used to cultivate this for 3-4 years and then leave this land fallow for 11 years, 10 to 11 years. So they used to follow this 10 to 11 year cycle. So in this 10 to 11 years, the forest would regenerate itself. Ecology would re-establish itself. But now, because of land and population pressure, so what happens? Because land population dynamics, that short fallow cycle has started. So now it is no more 11. Now it is just 3 or 4 years or max to max 5 years. So the land is not able to regenerate itself. And something like this happens in the Jhum. The entire surface and the subsurface area is totally destroyed. And I am saying the subsurface because these, what you are seeing over here, these are not the twigs. These are the roots of the big trees. And so when the fire, it not only destroys the entire covered soil, it also destroys the roots underneath. So the entire roots, the skeletons, when anyone goes to these Jhum sites, we just see the skeletons of these trees, the root systems. So the entire slope is destroyed. So there is nothing to protect the slopes. So that makes the slopes very much vulnerable. So when there is a landslide, when there is a distriggering factor, heavy rainfall, so obviously we have the landslides, we have the entire soil of this region being shifted downhill. So this makes this particular thing. So we see that because of natural factors and because of anthropogenic factors, this brings us the concept why resilience, that is recovery, resisting, is much more necessary for Mizoram. Now here you can see some photos from field photos. What we are seeing over here, so in this slide you can see the fracture beds. One of the natural factors. So through this slide I want to show that how natural and anthropogenic factors are both the culprits behind the seismic zone 5, behind this region being hazard prone. So over here you are seeing the fracture beds. And here you are seeing that already this is a steep slope, almost a vertical slope. But on top of that, these are the building materials. So the building materials are being extracted. So they will be crushed. So the stone chips that we are using for home construction, building construction. So they're already it is already a steep slope, vertical slope, and more extraction, which will obviously make it more disaster prone. Over here, the rock over here, it is a very permeable, highly permeable rock bed. And because of this permeability, you can see fractures have developed. And over here, we are seeing various small rock fragments. So these rock fragments over here, so over time, they will become more loose and unconsolidated. And slowly, over time, this entire zone will be coming down. Here, we are blessed with a number of springs, mountain springs or hill springs, which is locally called Tuikhur. Now, here the natural flow of one such Tuikhur has been barricaded, has been blocked. And this is quite common in Mizoram because this water over here, after barricading, tanks are built so that the water can be used. But though that is done, but that sort of blocks the flow of the water, which will have some effect on the layers underneath. Now over here, already this is a steep slope. Still, we are seeing that over here there are houses being built along these steep slopes. Now, and also we are seeing over here a number of settlements over here, houses over here. Now, another thing, the word Mizo, it means land of people of the hills. Because Mizoram, the Mizo community, they love staying in the highlands. So once this is done, like over here, the slopes are being utilized, the fragile slopes are being utilized. So the slopes which are already fragile, so obviously they will become more hazard prone. And here is another example of one such fracture. Again here, the example of dissected valley and permeable rocks, soft rocks, are an example of how, because of improper drainage management, there is no drainage management, and because of improper drainage management, there has been landslide in this zone. Here, what we are seeing is that because of improper drainage management, again, there has been water has intruded into the subsurface region. So once things like this happens, then the region is prone to subsidence. So this is all about the disasters. Now, resilience. So what is being done with regard to resilience? So I have given some institutionalized form of resilience system. These are some institutionalized form. At the top, we have the SDMA, Mizoram State Disaster Management Authority. So they are just the policy formulating body. And then we have the DMNR, this is the Disaster Management and Rehabilitation Department. They are the actual workers. They are implementing the policies. They are coordinating with the various districts. They are coordinating with the State Emergency Operations Center. They are coordinating with the various relief works, with the various training works, rehabilitation works, etc. Now, under them comes the district level. In each and every district, we have a district disaster management authority. And then we have at the grassroots level, the local level, because they are the first responders. When there is a disaster, then it is not that the people from the DMNR, whose headquarters is in Aizawl city, they will come running. So it is the local people who have to be the first responders. So the local level, they are the first responders and they are being amply trained regarding these disaster emergencies. Mock drills are conducted, etc. So these are the major initiatives that has been taken up by the state regarding disasters, various types of disasters. And there are various capacity building exercises which also goes on. So there are mock drills which are conducted throughout Mizoram. So over here in this photo, you are seeing they are the disaster management DMNR officials. And they regularly conduct mock drills and various such exercises with the local community. And then there are various other such projects which are there. And then we also have the Apada Mitra project, in which various basic equipments, they are not only trained. Over here, you are seeing one such training is underway. The local people, the volunteers, they are trained. But apart from that, the local level committees, they are also provided with various equipments, with various materials. In the event that such kind of disasters might occur, so they are equipped with all those things. So till now, we have seen the various institutionalized form of resilience. But my topic is indigenous way. So from this slide, I will be discussing what are the various indigenous ways in which disaster, the Mizoram, they tries to resist the disaster. So for here, the core concept, the central theme is this word which is called Plumgaina. So this word, Plumgaina, this Mizo word, this is the basic, this is the core Mizo value, which means selflessness, discipline, and community service. So this core Mizo value has been backed by church principles and church teachings. So this core Mizo value, this helps or this motivates the people in volunteering works. This motivates the people in having mutual aids in various kinds of crises. It motivates the people to form. This is the basis for resilience. This is the basis for mobilization when there is that kind of disaster. I am not sure about other states, but in Mizoram, Mizoram has established a very efficient community-based disaster management strategy. How? Through this YMA, Young Mizo Association. This is a very unique association which is found in Mizoram, and this kind of association is not available elsewhere apart from Mizoram, because this is a very, though it is not a government source, government funded, but nevertheless, this is the backbone of Mizo society. It is very important. It is only important, this YMA. Now, what is YMA? They are the largest civil society group in Mizoram. And this is totally voluntary. They are not paid. They are voluntary. And they are non-political organization, which was established in 1935. And as I have said before, that the basis of this comes from this, the indigenous ethos of Plongaina, that is selflessness or discipline. And they are highly trusted, they are highly disciplined, and they are highly trusted by the Mizo society. And they are the basis of this indigenous resistivity, indigenous resistance against the disaster. So they will do so over here in this picture, you can see that how they are playing a crucial role during one such disaster. So they play a crucial role during disaster by community mobilization, disaster response, humanitarian action. So they will help in search and rescue in case there is someone is missing over there. So they will help in debris clearance. So when there is such kind of disaster, so there will be destruction of the houses. So these people, they will help in setting up the shelter homes. And not only that, like supposing in plain lands in our area, if there is some kind of a problem, there is some kind of an issue, and if we lose our houses or anything, then it is our own headache to rebuild the house. But it is not so in Mizoram. If the houses are damaged, then the YMA people, they will mobilize fund, and by mobilizing the fund, they will help in the construction of these damaged houses. They will help in the construction of the shelters, various shelters. So they will be mobilizing the funds. They will be providing voluntary physical labor, everything voluntary, no money is involved. Everything is voluntary. And so they will be helping in various ways. And not only that, like for example, so this is not exactly related to earthquakes or this disaster. I just want to give you examples. I just want to say you how YMA is embedded in their social structure, in the society of Mizoram. When there is a death in the family, like we know that when there's a death, then we are torn apart between grief on one hand and also the various social responsibilities that we have to undergo towards the deceased. That particular family is torn apart between these two. Grief also for the deceased family member, and also the various social responsibilities that goes with this, the various programs, etc. But not in Mizoram. If there is a death, then it is not people. I think someone's mic is on. If you can please unmute yourself. So if there is a death in the family, so it is these people, the YMA people, they comes into action. They will stay back with the entire group, the entire local group. They will stay with the family. They will stay back with the deceased. They will stay back with the dead body. the entire night. They will sing, they will pray with the dead body, with the family members. And not only that, because Mizoram is a Christian state, so they will also take part in the digging of the graves, to the funeral, everything, to the prayer meetings, everything. And also they will supply food and all the other requirements to the deceased family member's family. So you see that the people do not have to worry about anything. It is the responsibility. Anything happens, it is the responsibility. It is taken up by the YMA people. So how do the YMA, again, I will give you another example which just recently occurred in our university area. So our university area, this is close to another such village, and in each and every village, they have their own local YMA. So during the recent rainy season, one such person, he had gone missing. He had gone to the forest and somehow he had gone missing. So for 10 days, the YMA people, they searched the entire forest area in this locality. For 10 days, all the people, they would search all the people in that particular village, the YMA people, they would search for this person. So such is the mutual aid concept of mutual aid over here. So how this goes, the YMA association, at the center, we have the CYMA, whose headquarters is in Aizawl. And then we have the various sub-headquarters in each and every districts. So any person above 14 years of age, they are able to join this, they are able to become members of this. And so this was all about the YMA, but then there are something more. Through pictures, I will show you more, because it is said that picture speaks 1,000 words. So over here, we are seeing that the DMR, they are training one batch of YMA people, YMA members. And the central YMA is being trained, and not only trained, they are being given various resources for any disasters. Now, these people who are getting trained, this is the church hall, which are being used for community-based activities. So over here, the trained people, they are then training the local people regarding various disasters. And we all remember the COVID times, which was really worth remembering time for us, all of us. And during that time, things had become more tougher with the sudden closure of the transportation network. So we were all stuck wherever we were. And things were more difficult for the migrant laborers. They got stuck wherever they were. So it was also very much problematic in Mizoram. So we also have, in Mizoram also has a lot of migrant laborers. So they also got stuck. So what these people, the YMA people do, I already said that each and every locality, there is a local YMA. So the local YMA, they sort of made each and every locality a fort. They made it as a fortress where no one would go out during the COVID times and no one would come inside. They were like gatekeepers. So no one would go out and no one would come inside. But at the same time, they ensured that all, including the migrant laborers, they get access to medicine and also food. So over here, you are seeing during the COVID
Hello.
time. Food,
Madam, yes, madam.
yeah.
Please conclude within few minutes.
Okay, sure.
We are
So,
running out of time. Yes.
So here there are some more evidences. So we also have church-based resilience, wherein the church comes in with their own shelter homes and donations, foods, volunteers, etc. The village councils are also helping in their own indigenous ways. And we also have the traditional knowledge system. So the traditional knowledge system, which incorporates bamboos, because bamboos are quite rampant in Mizoram. So bamboo-based slope stabilization is there. The youth and women also plays their own part. We have a number of SHGs. Through the SHGs, the women, they plays their own part in resilience. So technology is also coming in hand these days. So technology together with YMA churches and also the MSDMA. So all together, we are seeing how resilience is being worked out over here. So these are some of the recommendations. So in very short, the recommendation is to map hazard in such a way that the indigenous cues, the indigenous knowledge should be taken into acceptance, and also there should be more community-led preparedness. There should be more mitigation followed by bioengineering ways. So I'm not going into details about through the various bioengineering ways. Just wanted to say about the springs. So you see over here the spring which was once over here because of anthropogenic reason of road construction. It has now went inside the forest. So this is a bamboo drainage pipe. So because of this, what is happening? The entire land is getting soaked because of the water not able to come out from its actual position. So things like this are occurring where we are seeing land subsidence. So these things should be avoided. So these are again some pictures. I won't go into the details about this. You can see, so this particular area was built for the BPL people, but once a night, the entire thing came hurling down. So I would just conclude over here. So in Mizo, it is Kalome, or thank you. So thank you. So I end my presentation over here. And now, if there is anything.
Thank you, ma'am. It was really a kind of thought-provoking lecture presented by you. I think as decided by our chair, Dr. Ramakrishna sir, that we are going to take the questions at the end of the session. Because after you, ma'am, there are a lot of, people, they are resource persons, they are waiting for their deliberation. So I think Dr. Mankim Singh has, sir, are you ready, sir, now? Dr. Singh was kind of facing a technical glitch. Okay,
is
sir.
it audible now?
Yes, sir, audible, sir.
Okay. So if it is audible, then I will start.
Yes, you please start. Please restrict yourself within the time, no?
Okay, thank you much.
Okay,
Thank you so
thank
much.
you.
Where is it? I have to share. I hope my voice is audible, sir.
Yes, it's all.
Yes, sir, yes.
Okay. So, sir, my topic for today is flood adaptation in the Central Valley of I'll start with this slide. It says that disasters are not natural. So my lecture should have been ideal if it had followed just after Professor Maiti's presentation. But still, I feel that Sir had provided a broader framework of how disasters are more often determined by the social and human factor than the natural factor. So this slide summarizes that no disasters are natural. In fact, all disasters result from interaction between natural and human factors. So my topic is focusing more on the adaptation aspect of flood and why we should adapt to flood particularly. There are many hazards which brings disaster to society and economy, but among them, flood over the years, especially over the last 20 years, have become the most prominent hazard, irrespective of where we reside across the world. So, for example, this opinion piece in the New York Times puts that floods are inevitable. So floods in future and even today are inevitable. No matter how good our measures are to prevent it and control it, flood seems to have become inevitable. But the catastrophes that generally associate with floods, it can be reduced or even prevented. So this is the main argument, and this is a very thought-provoking opinion piece. And the title itself is very pertinent. And why we need to adapt to flood? Because as we look at the latest assessment reports of UNDRR, you see that from 1970 to 2019, water-related hazards, that is mostly floods, accounted for 50% of all disasters and 45% of reported deaths. And in the last 20 years or so, the death disasters, flood-related disasters have increased by 134% compared to the previous 2 decades. So it seems like floods are increasing in their magnitude as well as frequency in terms of their disaster also. And among the floods, there are different types of flood, but riverine floods and overflow of water from the channel seems to be the most costliest one, accounting for billions of dollars in terms of annual damages. And where these areas are now, flood exposed areas across the world, as we see, have increased in terms of people, but mostly in Asia. So in India also, we generally see flood occurring simultaneously in different parts of the country. But usually what we find is that our part, particularly northeast part, except for Brahmaputra Valley, not many talks about floods in the traditional sense, apart from Brahmaputra Valley. So we tend to hide, or Bengal Valley, for example, generally is not discussed much, although it is a very flood-prone area. And these are some of the headlines of recent devastating floods across the globe. And so one can see that the floods in recent times have occurred in different parts of the world. For example, Afghanistan, Brazil, Central Europe, Kathmandu, Pakistan, China. Then we have even China, then Assam is there, then in India. So these headlines prove that the devastation that is caused by flood is occurring across the world, irrespective of the level of development that the country or the society is. Even the most technologically developed countries of Europe as well as America, they are facing the rate of flood in recent times. Therefore, flood seems to be inevitable. However, I will argue that through adaptation, proper adaptation measures, we could reduce the impacts of flood. And this is in case of Manipur. So not many people know that 90% of Manipur is hill areas, and the 10% that is a central valley of Manipur is a plain area, very flat plain, where numerous rivers flow, whose waters overflow and breaches the bank and causes many floods. And these are some of the pictures and headlines from recent floods of the Central Valley in Manipur. And so since we have seen that a lot of floods are occurring across the world, irrespective of the development level of the country and society, what have societies done to control flood or to manage the flood impacts? And when we see the type of management that globally it has been practiced, initial focus was on controlling the flood. Then in recent times, the focus has expanded. That is, while we focus more on controlling the flood, then we adopt the structural approach that Professor Maiti discussed earlier, which are technocentric view of human that we can control nature and prevent flood completely. So Over the years, societies and researchers have observed that we cannot completely control floods through structural means. Therefore, we need to mix up our measures with structural and non-structural measures. And if you look at a larger view of flood risk management of today, then we focus not only on structural and non-structural, but mitigation and adaptation measures are also emphasized. And ultimately, all these are aimed to enhance the resilience of society so that not only the impacts are reduced, but we acquire the ability to rebound future. And in terms of the evolution of the risk assessments in India, this lower figures diagram here shows that it also is a good reflection of how, as a country, we have tried to solve the problem of flood. For example, in the earlier decades, we were simply starting to acquire data on flood and forecast the flood of few river basins. Then we expanded that concept into including embankment, dams, and barrages, which is purely structural ways of controlling flood, which in itself has been proven wrong. Then in 70s, for example, in 70s and 80s, the concept expanded to non-structural measures like enacting floodplain zonation legislations, which central government emphasized, but not many states in the country have enacted this act. Surprisingly, Manipur is one of the 4 states in the country which has this floodplain zoning act, which has been there since 1978, although it has not been implemented properly, but only
Hello, sir. Your voice is not coming, sir. I think the station has stopped, right, sir?
Yeah, I think, hello.
Yes, sir. Your voice is clear.
There might be some network issue.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Bishwa, can you, Dr. Bishwajit Das, can you?
Yes. I'm informed.
What is the problem? Dr. Das, have you been able to connect him?
No, I'm calling, but just
Okay.
give me a second.
Okay. So, Ramkrishna sir, what should we do right now?
We can start with Manusino.
Yeah. I think if you permit, then
Yeah. Manushi, are you ready? Dr. Devnath, Manushi Devnath.
Yes, sir. I'm ready. Yeah.
Okay, you can start now.
Okay. Yes, sir.
okay, Manushi, with the permission of the chair, I would like to introduce Dr. Manushi Devnath. She is
Yes,
an
yes,
assistant
yes.
professor in the Department of Geography, Nagaland University. Her work basically centers on what I know, the Himalayan cryosphere, glaciers, glacial lakes, permafrost, and climate hazard linkages. And all we know that she's one of the brightest young women geomorphologists from our country. So all we are eagerly waiting to hear from Manushi. Over to you.
Um, Good afternoon. No, sorry, good evening. I am going to share you today's presentation. So I found that most of the session speakers have give the presentation mostly on socioeconomic
Internet
aspects.
suddenly has become very uneven now here.
Okay. Is my voice is clear now?
Dr. Maiti, can you kindly, say a few things because Dr. Manglim has
Yeah,
come
yeah,
back.
yeah.
What
Dr.
should we do?
Singh, Dr. Singh, please, please, you have to wait for some time. We already started since we
Okay,
couldn't
okay.
contact you. Since we
I was
couldn't
speaking
contact
all
you.
alone. I thought that I was still joined.
Yeah, okay. Sorry for the inconvenience. Okay.
It's okay.
Please,
My internet is
please,
very
yeah,
unstable.
Yes. Manusi, please continue.
Yes, sir. Good evening, all. So till now, I have found that most of the speakers have spoken on the disaster and its impact on the society. What is the key? Mostly, we know as a broader way. It is it flood, or is it landslide, or is it cloudburst, or is it cloth? But the thing is, when we are we need to do prepare for disaster risk reduction, then we need to find out for which we need to go for the management system. So, and how much that means what could be the the zonation, the as per the degree of the vulnerability, and all this we need to identify. But again, we need to focus on particular factors, particular source zone, basically. So on this way, as I am very much fortunate, I am a scholar of geography discipline, and when we study the physical geography and all, so my keen interest grew up on cryosphere. So cryosphere is basically glacial lake, snow related matter, and permafrost, obviously. So basically, my study was since 10 years. I have been studying on glacial lake in and paleoclimate related to glacier as a proxy of glacier sediments in Sikkim, Himalaya. As we all know that climate is changing since geological past. It is not a new phenomena. Obviously, that degree of the shifting nature of climate might be changed because of or enhanced because of human-induced activities. But this is very much geologically cyclic phenomena. However, as I told you, because of human-induced activities since pre-industrial times, that average temperature is being increased almost 0.85 degrees centigrade. And mountain regions are warming much more faster because of its high altitudes, because of the capacity of warming nature at a faster rate, as well as the thinner air. So those all things lead to the vulnerable situations for the cryosphere. So through this way, Earth's surface has lost almost 28 trillion tons of ice since 1994, and that responsible for several mountain disasters. Such example of sudden release of water from a glacial lake that could often triggered by moraine dam failure or ice avalanches or rapid melting that causing the downstream flooding. So ice loss in Himalaya is reshaping the high mountain landscapes, but that ice loss is not similar at all the places. East-west extension of Himalaya, Hindu Kush Himalaya, shows large variability in glacier dynamics. So here we can find towards this eastern Himalaya, glacier ice recession is much more faster than the western part. Even towards the northwest Hindu Kush Himalaya, there is some of the glaciers exhibited advanced signatures. So here, this way, we found that there is a higher degree of variable nature of glacier character, even if they are retreating as well. So keeping in mind this, we found that there is an urgent need to take natural, as a local scale study and research. So, and why is this necessary? These are necessary because the natures are always changing it at various spatial scale. With this, when glaciers are retreating, many times they form lakes, but their dams are not stable. And fragile moraines, buried ice, permafrost degradation, those amplified more risk towards the glacial lake outburst flood. So such kind of lakes we sometimes may find towards on the glacier or just in front of glacier or along the glacier, in between moraine, lateral moraine and glacier. These days, there is a high tendency of forming new glacial lakes. Such kind of example is on this Menthosa glacier. This is the Menthosa glacier. Always glaciers are not very much white colorished, because there is a lot of factors, such example debris or rocks or different sizes of sediments which incorporating top of the glacier size, and then they appeared as such kind of brownish color, and this type of glaciers are called debris covered glaciers. So here we can find the incipient lake on the top of the Menthosa glacier. Here you will find this satellite imagery is showing you how since 2022 this new glacial lake has appeared. So in the beginning of 2022, there was no second lake, that the top of the lake was not there, but with the time it's developed. And in recent time, 2025, it is grew up. And this is the field photograph of that new, that incipient lakes. We went there 2025 July. So we found this lake has appeared. In 2023, we went there, but such kind of lakes were not there. Then to identify the various characteristics of glaciers, glacier thickness, we have done GPR survey, ground penetrating survey on the glacier surface, basically from the equilibrium line altitude towards the ablation zone. So here we do the glacier GPR survey, ground penetrating radar, that inform you about the thickness of glacier. So this survey was carried out from the beginning by Jawaharlal Nehru University Group since 2017. This year, again, we have done the return survey in this July 2025 to identify how much thickness has been reduced. Now, there is another type of lakes. Those formed on these top of the glaciers are known as supraglacial lake. These lakes also poses another high level of threats. You must have heard about Raswa flood, right? This happened in this 2025 in Nepal. That lake was situated along the boundary of Nepal and Tibet. However, this situated in the Tibet-Nepal border, but it's ultimately the water flows through even India. So in July, on July 20, on 11 June 2025, this Raswa flood happened. That was supraglacial lake, and that created a massive cross-border flood in Dhupguri and killed many and destroyed infrastructure. So 2025 itself, you can find that since the beginning of the season, there was very few lakes, but at the end of the season, like 2023, there was very small supraglacial lakes, but in 2025 the small lakes merged together, and within 1 month it created a form of a huge lake around 0.27 square kilometer of area, and made devastation. Again, and this flood, these are the examples how the big structures, constructive structures, have destroyed. This was one hydroelectric project that also have been destroyed there. Now, another type of lake is proglacial lake. Its example, yes, you are right. This is South Lonak Lake in Sikkim, North Sikkim. So here in 2023, when that gulf occurred, after that 15% area have decreased, and additionally 5.5 million cubic meter of water has been discharged during that peak hazard time. So here you will find that how this glacial lake hazards have flood have occurred. In this case, the moraine was not destroyed. It was only the insides that through one point that lake was incised, and this gulf was occurred because of not the moraine destructions but also the lateral moraine collapse. Okay, one part of the lateral moraine you will find here, one part of the lateral moraine collapsed, and it releases again. It has the cascading effect of avalanche, ice avalanche from the snout of the South Lonak glacial lake, and then the whole scenario we all know. So these are the before, earlier, and after that hazard photo of this dam that is in North Sikkim. And this is hydropower plant. This is the 3 hydropower plant at Chungthang. Now, the thing is that this type of situations we can minimize the risk. We cannot reduce this kind of hazards or event, but we can reduce the risk. Such examples Blatten in Swiss village, Switzerland. That was a very small Swiss village. It was in Switzerland. There was again a debris-laden flood occurred here in this village, but scientists was monitoring this glacier since long, and they could able to find out that there could be such kind of event in near future. So that if from the very long, that means long time back, the villagers were shifted to the other parts. So what happened then? The diseases and other another important affecting the degree of affecting could be minimized. So with this, we need to identify that what type of events can be happen. As we have focused on gulf, so it's generally caused by the glacier shrinkage, then development of different type of lakes, such example proglacial, ice marginal, supraglacial, and then the damming structure loosen or material. What is the type of damming structures? Those things need to be understood, and because of the loosened integrity of the damming structures, that could lead to the dam failure, and then it could generate the water waves. Sometimes they can also destroy the moraine dam. But therefore, ice rock or rock avalanche is very important parameter, and then location of lakes could be further threat of displacement wave that overtopping if avalanche material were impact the lake. So therefore, shape and locational factors, active tectonic or frequent earthquake factors, rock or ice avalanches, these factors are very important to minimize the risk. So therefore, first step is to precisely determine the glacial lake and inventories and variability of those. Then to find out the most potentially dangerous lakes, and then try to monitor the factors. So aim of our ongoing research towards the disaster risk reduction from this events is to identify and monitor the important lakes, and to find out the potentially dangerous glacial lakes, and to monitor the probable factors for the TRR. Case study is North Sikkim, Lachung Basin, where this basin has area around 768 square kilometer, and the altitude varies from 1,790 meter to 6,755 meter, and peak precipitation during the monsoon and post-monsoon season as well. For this, we have taken we use many remote sensing data as well as the field data. Then we do glacial lake mapping, and then we go to the field. We collected sample for ground truthing, for accuracy assessment. Then we do the glacial lake volume estimation, using some kind of previously established method. And now we ourselves are doing mathematics survey. We have started, and we will going to come up with our own data and formula. Then we go for potentially dangerous glacial lakes identification using the AHP and multi-criteria decision making model. And then we categorize different types of lakes. When we found the high vulnerable lakes, we then concentrate on those lakes. Now, we, as per whatever work we have done, we found different types of lakes here. This is example of supraglacial lake. It is Ilibu-Khangseg Lake. And this is one of the Marine Dam Lake. This is one of the lake, it's called Tarn. So this is Combine Lake. These are very much dangerous. So this is one of the potentially dangerous glacial lake. We are also studying this lake. So therefore, it is very much crucial to management the GLOF hazards to assess the likelihood and magnitude of such kind of event. Here in this basin, we have around 99 glacial lakes consisting of 4.57 square kilometer of area, and lake number we have found it is increased, doubled since 1974, and area as well. So therefore, it is very much important to study in this basin. We have found proglacial lakes are highly vulnerable. Again, supraglacial lake, you can find here, the area has been decreased since 1974. Why? Because there was GLOF event. I'm not talking about South Lonak, because that is in another valley. Another basin. We studied in Lachung Basin. So there was one GLOF event, but it was in 1998. It happened from Tinbawa Lake. So it is one of the supraglacial lake. It is highly varying over a time, and this is Tinbawa Lake. In the very beginning, it was supraglacial lake, the top of the glacier. But over a time, after this 1998 GLOF, it now formed as a proglacial lake. And we have a lot of, signature of that. And recently, there was again a small glacial water breaching from one lake that was a Marine Dam Lake. And we have found the fresh deposits here. Okay, so these are few of the mostly important potentially dangerous glacial lake, which we have categorized as a highly dangerous glacial lakes. And out of that, this Tinbawa Lake is one. And we have gone and we are studying, we are doing research on this Tinbawa Lake. So this is the breaching event deposits you can find here, which was occurred in 1998, and this is the 2023. There is another glacial lake that is Palochutang 2. We have found in 1975 there was nowhere Palochutang 2, but it appeared as a very small pond in 1988, and now it has increased. It expanded its area by 721% since 1988, and volume rose from 0.38 million cubic meter to 7.6. And this is the Tinbawa. You can find how it has changed over a time. And until 1991, this lake has rose by 230%. But after that, its area got shrinked. So this is the reason why we found that supraglacial lakes area have been decreased. So Tinbawa Lake, it is, you can find now there is another incipient small lake top of the above the Tinbawa Lake, and it is along the on the Tinbawa Glacier. You can find here. So in near future, these two lakes could provide another level of threat. So that's why we are doing work, and we have found that Tinbawa lakes, that's presently its volume is 3.75 million cubic meter. And with this, keeping in mind, we have started field work for Tinbawa since 2024. But unfortunately, weathers there are always pretty much difficult to go. Weathers does not is allowing to take good photograph. And this is video we have taken 2025 field. So already there was snowfall. You can find snow breaks. And this is the one where you can find the in front of this lake, and it is actually kind of permafrost area. So if this permafrost area got degraded because of the continuous warming conditions, then this water could again be breached. So, and here some of the another kind of sampling we are collecting for paleoclimate study along this valley. And this is compactness measurement. Just now we talked about, we need to understand the compactness of the surface and the material. So we were doing that compactness measurement. And we have also done the velocity measurement of the stream that came sourced from this lake. And obviously, sometimes we have visitors like that. Yapomak of snow leopard that was freshly we recognized. Maybe he visited last night when we were having a good sleep. So far we have now we have done the work. We have find out what is the vulnerable lakes in this basin, and now we are doing the survey for bathymetric survey using the unmanned survey boat, and then we are doing survey on find out the moraine dam compactness, as well as GPS survey we are having planned to do. And we are also doing work on permafrost area temperature monitoring. And then we could able to understand what is the condition, and then we could able
Dr. Devnath,
to
please, we need to conclude.
Yes, sir. I am almost there. And then we'll do the inundation map and risk map so that we could able to find out the area from where people need to go or need to move under certain degree of events, where they need to move and which area. So there are many structural measures and non-structural measures are carried out by Sikkim DST along with other line department. Our group's contribution towards disaster risk reduction has started long back. Our another collaborators, they have started work on Minthosa 2017. Then our group, Glamour Glacier and Mountain Research Lab, established in Nagaland University 2025, and we have started work in Sikkim and Arunachal Pradesh as well. 2 women scholars engaged here, and the main thing is locals are being also educated in this aspect. We are giving them some kind of training them through focus group discussion and training them on using the instruments and all. And now these days, International Permafrost Association, Malabchand Sharma, Professor Malabchand Sharma is president of the HYPERC, and that we are also part of that. So with that, I would like to thank you. Yes, if any questions further.
Thank you, Dr. Devnath, for your timely completion and very exclusive presentation. Now we are going for hearing the rest of the presentation of Dr. Singh. Dr. Singh, please. Are you with us? Dr. Singh? Dr. Das, Dr. Vishwajit Das. Oh, okay, Dr. Singh joined. Yes. Please, sir.
Yes, I hope.
Sorry for the interruption. Okay.
It's okay. From my side also,
Yes.
I'm little. Yeah. So internet connection here is very unstable, particularly in my room, I feel.
Yeah. Okay. Sir.
So I was told that I had spoken for, I think 5-6 more slides. I thought that I was still connected. So, sir, are you still audible? Can you hear me still? Is my voice audible?
Yes, sir. Please.
Yes, so the above one is the last 20 years or so flood management process, and the below one is.
We got this one.
Okay, thank you so much. And this is a slide that argues that generally the Central Valley of Manipur has not been considered when it comes to intense and serious studies of flood management or any aspect of flood studies. And most of these are big regions, and the basins that they mentioned here do not mention again the Central Valley of Manipur. So this is the map of Manipur, and as you can see that the large part of Manipur, in fact almost 90% of Manipur, is hill. And in the central area, which covers about 2,000 kilometers or so, we have a valley, which is a very flat area, strewn by many rivers that flow generally from north to south. And because of the low elevation and low slope and the hilly nature of the surrounding hills, the rivers tend to flow down quite quickly, and generally we get a lot of floods. So the idea is we get a lot of floods, and in terms of the districts, these are all districts. So my point here is that the Central Valley of Manipur, which houses almost 60% of the state's population, has seen floods in many years. So this is a timeline of floods, and floods have occurred in different seasons, and the height of these bars roughly correspond to the severeness of the floods that have occurred, and these are the years in which those floods have occurred. And one very striking thing about this timeline is that in the last 20 years or so, that means since 2000, we are seeing very frequent floods of significance. So as one could observe that since 2020, we have almost witnessed 13 floods, which is almost equal to the number of floods that the valley witnessed in the last in the past 7-8 decades. So it's safe to conclude that the Central Valley of Manipur, the floods have become more frequent, at the same time more intense. And it also shows that the whatever measures that were taken for flood management and control have failed to date. In fact, the last 2 years, for example, here, 2024 and 25, we have witnessed very intense flood, devastating floods. In 2025 alone, we have seen 2 floods, which are of very significant nature in terms of their damage and the coverage. So this is the satellite image that we prepared. These are the red areas. This is Central Valley of Manipur, and this is 2025's flood evolution. How the flood of May to June, that early part of monsoon evolved, and we can see that monsoon periods usually brings intense flood. And this year, after this also, we have witnessed floods, continuous flood for a long time. And our survey, household survey on adaptation practices at the household level was sample sites were collected based on this satellite imagery. This is SAR data, and red ones are the ones where flood inundation took place. And these are some of the pictures that I took. And here, these pictures show many things. For example, as Professor Maiti also highlighted, floods, although may seem to be a natural event, we have tried to contain them within the channels of the river through technology, by construction of structures, embankments, and other structures. But what we see is that the same flood that occurs do not bring equal devastation to all the people in all areas. The prime example is this house here, and the one that was situated over here, which was dragged by the water when the breaching took place on this bank here. So one could see the interplay of socioeconomic conditions, the cultural context with the physical factor here. So the impact, as one could observe here, is that although this house and this house were exposed to the similar flood, the impact is quite different. The house here has already been drained by water, and we can no longer see. And let me again further highlight this point, how impacts of flood and disasters are shaped more by the social and physical conditions, social and economic and demographic conditions, ultimately determining their vulnerability. There is a short video here, which I will skip this part since it's already late. And in terms of the measures, what we see in Central Valley of Manipur, when we talk of flood measures, I think we tend to focus more on embankment construction. So this is a knee-jerk response to the rising water of this river here. This river, how locals along with government officials are trying to strengthen the bund that was already there in a very knee-jerk type of reaction. So there is not many talk on how we should adapt and take up other measures apart from construction of embankment and strengthening of embankment. So that prompted us to look more on the adaptation aspects, whether the people, flood-affected people, are ready in terms of their adaptation measures and what type of adaptation measures they have adopted. So a very simple argument here is that we need adaptation, because the kind of devastation that we have seen from flood across the world shows that the structural approach of the past generally has failed. And in fact, it has sometimes resulted in increasing and amplifying the impact by instilling a false sense of security, thereby leading to construction of more houses and other structures that exposes more people and infrastructure. So structural approach alone instills false sense of security, resulting in increasing long-term exposure. This has been observed in different parts of the world, including in Manipur also. Here we have seen many areas which were not populated. Now we see a lot of infrastructures being built, largely because embankments were built and they were successful for part of time, but they have failed in a very severe manner in recent past. Therefore, one needs to look for other measures, combining the structural approach with non-structural approaches like spatial planning, early warning system, community preparedness. Ultimately, we need to enhance our adaptability and resilience. Here, our argument is that adaptation is important, especially at the household level, because government, the structural approach are highly government-centric as well as very.
Dr. Singh,
yes,
Dr. Singh, we lost a lot of time. We are running behind the schedule.
Okay, sir, I will skip to my part.
Yes.
So overall, we need to focus on the household adaptations because a lot of other measures which are very centralized have failed, and households are also the first unit of response to any disaster. And therefore, we need to see what type of household adaptation measures are being adopted by the people residing in flood-prone areas of Central Valley of Manipur. So these are some of the preliminary findings. What I want to highlight here, sir, is that the household level adaptation measures, we have divided into those measures which are very high effort type of measures and those which are low effort. For example, elevating household floors, ground floors, barriers, installing barriers, waterproofing, drainage. These are high effort requiring technology, more money, and some very basic low effort measures may include like simply shifting our valuables to higher levels and even early warnings and coordination with community members. So we surveyed the flood affected areas, household type of surveys, and what we found is that these are some of the preliminary findings. I will skip what they say, but the idea is that overall high effort adaptations are uneven, suggesting financial and technical barriers prevent wider adoption. In other words, there are barriers to adaptation. Although even if we want to, we know that those adaptation measures are good and will reduce impact of flood, but there are barriers, and those barriers generally are either financial or technical in nature. Then in terms of low effort, we see that low effort measures are quite prominent as reflected by these figures. And what are the major barriers that we found from our survey? We find it as observed across the world, cost is a major barrier. Somehow this makes that the adaptation measures are linked to the overall prosperity of the people. Those who prosper more tend to will reduce these barriers. Therefore, there will be less impact from flood in future. And in terms of institutional and governance related barriers, we find that local government early warnings and preparedness drills are largely absent, weakening anticipatory adaptation policies. So institutional barriers are still there. And in terms of trust that people have on local authorities and satisfaction with government response, they are also very low. So it means there is institutional gaps. Therefore, all the more important that households need to be prepared, because institutions generally are more, it takes more time and they have more inertia to change. To conclude, sir, I would like to argue that floods have become inevitable because of various reasons, including climate change. Therefore, measures which were earlier focused more on structural measures, approach needs to diversify, including non-structural measures, which can enhance people's adaptive capacity to reduce impact. And in terms of findings in the Central Valley of Manipur, we find that adaptation measures are there, but low effort ones are the ones which are more common, whereas because of cost barrier and institutional barriers, the high effort ones are mostly absent. Ultimately, building flood resilience in Manipur or elsewhere depends not only on resisting water, but on learning to live with it through informed, inclusive, and adaptive community action. So I will end here, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Singh, for your effort in in understanding the resilience and non-structural measures for flood management. So thank you very much. And
Thank you, sir.
next presenters, I think Dr. Siddhartha Agarwal.
Sir, with your permission, can I introduce him?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I met Siddharth in presidency. Hi, Siddharth. He's a very interesting person. Actually, he's the founder of Vedintam India Foundation, Kolkata, a research platform working on river systems and basically environmental governance in India. He trained in engineering. He's an alumni of IIT Kharagpur. But what he is doing right now, he has left his job and he's walking along just by the side of different Indian rivers. He has already, walked almost, I think, 3,000 kilometers. There is a kind of project, right? Moving upstream Ganga, right? Yeah. And he right now leads one platform called India Sandwatch. It is a kind of open data and environmental open data platform which connects with environmental accountability projects. So they are doing works nowadays on river sand mining. It is a very good platform. So I think, Siddharth, you can proceed with the permission from the chair.
Yes, please, Dr. Agarwal.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Maiti. Just to clarify, I am not a PhD, so you don't have to
Okay,
affix,
that doesn't
prefix
okay, no problem.
doctor. Just sharing. Just give me 1 minute. I will. There's some issue with the sharing. Give me 1 second. So you can tell me when you can see my screen.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
That's fine.
All right. Just 1 second. Okay. All right. I will try to take lesser time because I think we're quite over time today. I will also, I think, as opposed to a lot of the other presentations that have happened, which have also been technical and have been very enriching and good learning experience for me, I will talk specifically about the challenge of illegal river sediment extraction and how it's leading to the creation of disasters, and which is a challenge, of course. And I'm very thankful to Dr. Devushi for inviting me to share our work and talk about illegal river sediment extraction from the perspective of disasters. As Dr. Devushi mentioned, I run an organization called Vedintam India Foundation with a long-term vision of transforming how environmental governance happens in India. And of course, disasters form such a key component of environmental governance, which is not something that is fully looked at as a linked mechanism, but sometimes is looked at as isolated mechanisms. And one of the key things that we're trying to do through various projects that we have is to create evidence at scale. And there are two flagship projects currently that we run. One is moving upstream, part of which we walk along rivers in India. We've walked more than 6,000 to 7,000 kilometers along rivers in India to document them, understand them. And we lead the project India Sandwatch, which is an environmental accountability project looking at the issue of river sand mining in India. There's a whole bunch of other things, but let's move into the discussion around rivers and sand extraction. This is a map of the rivers that we have walked as part of the Moving Upstream project. And our learning has built from spending